about coaching a new staff, we have to see it from two sides. One, do we actually believe that all new staff that have joined your institution are not really good, or they're freshers, or they're not able to handle themselves? So we have to make it very clear, why do we have a coaching program? This is to streamline the system and for you to understand this school's spatial, you may say, strengths, as well as the weaknesses that you examine while being coached or while teaching, that you can share back with your head of the wing or the principal or your head of, generally the principal, because then principal can actually look into the areas which a new teacher has pointed out. And believe me, sometimes you get brilliant criticism of your own system. Secondly, while you're observing and while you're being coached, we would like you to also bring in some good practices of your past system or of your own that you have read or encountered or practiced, so that in case in fact, my school has really grown from these new teachers sharing their actual researches of the previous schools, and which we have incorporated. So every time a new teacher comes, she brings in something else. So now I am putting in a different perspective. We're just talking about coaching. We're now talking about gaining, as there was one final reference when you were mentioning that they can bring some good practice. The first thing that we begin is shadow teaching. If we have time, ideally, especially for mother teacher system, I like to have a teacher shadow a teacher whom she is going to replace, especially so that she not only gets familiar with the teaching pedagogy of that teacher, she also understands the psyche of the children. How are they adjusting with the old teacher? And she can form her own opinion about the children rather than being told by somebody else. Then we ask her to go through the data, as Arati was talking. Data in which the previous teacher's observation, the parental observation, the beginning of the session, the child self-evaluation, the child is able to write. There are some tick mark questions also which children normally write. And then the observation of the outgoing teacher as well as what she forms during those 2 weeks. It helps us settle in very beautifully when the teacher leaves it. And the parents do not actually feel that a mother's teacher system means wo pura school hil gaya unke hisab se. So that teacher really has to understand each and every child, and that really helps. We do not believe in having your class rep only coach. There are different teachers who have different strengths. So we have identified the strength of the teacher. Like, for example, one of the teachers is a reading in charge. So she will tell how the reading system in our school or the book issue system in each class library works. So different teachers also are asked to, they know that a new teacher comes, somebody will be training her about the activity club, somebody will be training her about music, somebody training about senior classes, how does our student council work, what do we do in class assemblies, how do we conduct it. So basically nitty-gritty. Plus we also have an orientation paper which is printed, which I made a 5-6 page document. Initially, I used to give it as a handout to all the teachers who join us.
Nita ji, I want to specifically leave the school orientation part and the policies part out.
No, that orientation is mainly on teaching assessments also. It has various parameters. Okay. So one of them is teaching pedagogies. What do we expect it to do? Something like if NEP has come in, so then that orientation paper also talks about the practices that we want them to involve in their classrooms.
Sure.
The assessment, the way they do lesson planning. Now I put that as a part of the teacher's writing, got it printed only, so that I don't have to worry about, my PA has not issued it to the new teacher. Sometimes it used to happen, 1 mahina ho gaya, usko mila hi nahi orientation paper. So teacher, then shadow teaching ho gaya, feedback system.
So I have another question. Sorry to interrupt you, but I have another question.
Please do.
And I'm going to take that question to Balaji also. He has joined us. I know he's driving in a car, but I can see him on and off joining us. I hope.
Good evening, sir.
Now, what happens, Nita ji, is that when we hire a MSc chemistry to be a teacher, right? I'm just taking an example of
I understand you're more talking about 9th and 11th, 12th because speaking for
so I'm just taking an example. Let's assume we hire a MSc to come and teach chemistry. Now we understand that chemistry has multiple, it has physical chemistry, organic
and
chemistry.
The teacher is specialized in one dimension.
In organic chemistry. Now, not every teacher is good at teaching all of these 3 domains equally well. So they are not competent. So there might be some teacher who teaches physical chemistry really well, but cannot teach organic chemistry so well because he himself was not very competent with the organic chemistry. I know a lot of math teachers, I can tell you for sure, they struggle themselves when it comes to teaching geometry. Because
especially Delhi teachers. South teachers teach geometry very well.
Absolutely, right? So there are these wonderful pockets कि मैं algebra तो बड़ा अच्छा करा दूंगा, calculus भी करवा दूंगा, but geometry में मेरे खुद ही
नहीं, ज्योमेट्री उनको लगता है बहुत अच्छी आती है, लेकिन
हाँ,
बच्चों को जब
उनको
मार्क्स
लगता
नहीं
है,
आते हैं, हमें समझ में आता है कि
हाँ,
उन्होंने
पर वो
कितना सिखाया नहीं।
एनसीईआरटी के क्वेश्चंस करने आते हैं सबको, ठीक
So
है,
they
वो
do not tell you that you draw the inference once you see the paper where are the children losing, in
correct,
which section are the children losing marks.
So
So
can
that
we? So
assessment,
what I'm saying is, have we ever tried where we can identify and ask this teacher, okay, we have a great organic chemistry teacher in our school, and if you're not comfortable, would you like us to give you a coach who can tell you how to teach organic chemistry well?
Atul,
So
as it is,
have you
children
ever
have.
tried something like that?
I tried it that in my own teaching. When I joined an institution, there was another PGT biology who was a botanist and I was a zoologist. So we divided the chapters. But
Right.
it does not work always. We had a very good understanding because in CBSE, even in 9th, you're supposed to have a single teacher of maths, physics, chemistry. In our schools, we'd have 3 teachers teaching. Now you cannot further subdivide them.
Right.
So what we try to do it, we said you've done graduation and post-graduation course. Identify the area in which you require help. Try to be your own help, first of all. Try to make your weaker area strongest so that the children cannot discern that you are weaker in this area. And believe me, this works. It works.
Okay.
If the teacher themselves identify the area of weakness and you work on it, we can learn it in much lesser time than an average child.
Okay, good. So you're saying self-directed learning also can work wonders. Let me, before I get Balaji and